Okay, let's take a look at the mixer screen. The mixer screen is where we can control volumes, put effects in, put instruments in, mute, solo and record enable. Let's take a look at one of the channel strips. One of the most confusing aspects of a mixer is the amount of controls on there. We're going to break it down into each track and you'll see that each track are pretty much exactly the same. So let's take a look at our first one. Audio 1. From the bottom we have a stereo control where we can change the track from being a stereo track to a mono track. We then have an input monitor control so we can see if there's any volume coming into the track, and a record enable. You can see that this is now flashing. Record enable means that the channel is now available for recording onto. Without the record enable button flashing, the track cannot be recorded onto. Above there we have mute to temporarily mute the track. Solo, if we just want to hear that track in our mix, we can click that button and all the other tracks will mute and we can only hear the output from that one track. We then have our volume fader. And next to that we have our volume meter measured in dB. We then have our pan control, so we can balance where we want our sounds to be in the stereo field. We then have a control which is set to off. This is for automation. We will cover this later on. Above that we have our group settings where we can group various channels together. Now we're onto our input and output section, labelled by I/O, input and output. We have currently our output set to stereo out, and our inputs, because this is a stereo channel, it's set to inputs 1 and 2. Above that we have our sends. Again, this is something we will cover in later tutorials. Moving up we have our inserts. This is where we can insert various effects. Above the inserts we have EQ. If we double click this, we'll bring up an EQ for that channel. And as you can see, the effect or the EQ has now been inserted into the first available slot. Let's get rid of it. Finally, we have setting. In here we can save, load, copy, reset our channel strips. Let's load one in. Electric guitar tone sampler, American Overdrive. And there we go. Let's reset it. Up to where it said setting and now it says America, we click, hold, and we move down to reset channel strip, select it, and we're back to normal.